This morning is going to be about recruiting. And one of the things is you have to look for reasons why you should recruit and build a sales force. One of the things is I'm reading the paper Money Magazine, and they're on Thursday, November 12th. And on there, they have a thing on conservative 401k approach can be costly. It said participants in USA's largest 401k plans have only 1.3% of their money in small company mutual funds. And those funds jumped an average of 29% in the past 4 weeks. Well, what that says to me is that those people need to be, the majority of people, if you're under age 50, in my opinion, you should have the majority of your savings dollars, your retirement savings dollars in small cap stocks. You just should. Okay. I mean, that's just a fact. And so people are under saving. And the reason that they are doing that at 1.3%, because no one has come to their home and sat down with them, and no one's done a risk profile questionnaire and asked them appropriate questions and got them to do the right things. See, you have some information, even if you don't perceive yourself as being an expert, you have enough. If you simply did the risk profile questionnaire, you did an F&A, and you didn't know all the answers, and you just got them asset allocate correctly, just that alone, you would be helping these people substantially, because most people are doing the wrong things. So that just is another reason why you should be recruiting people. And then also in that same paper, on the first section of the paper, and the last page is page 15A, that same day, it says, what boom? 2/3 of USA stuck in 1973. It's a great article. And I, when I have a highlighter with me, I'm always reading stuff, because there's always something that can help you if you're paying attention. So this could help you if you're sitting down trying to recruit somebody. It says right here, but for the median household, that short 4-month stock market ride in one small bump in a 25-year economic ride to nowhere. It says for the past quarter of a century, while the per capita gross domestic product has been rising more than 50%, the median American household has been on an income roller coaster to nowhere. It says in the end, the median household was 3% above where it was in 1973 and 4% below where it was in 1989. It's actually lower than in 1989, the per capita median income of Americans, especially the middle to lower class, which is our client, right? It's our client base. So they're worse off now than ever. And it says, good things have been happening in America economically, but none of the fruits of those good times have gotten to that in the middle or below middle household. Underneath these bad numbers, the news is worse. It says the average levels of education are up for both husband and wife in that median or below median household. The number with high school degrees has more than doubled. The number with college degrees is up by a factor of almost 4 between 69 and 96. Being better educated, they should be earning more. But they aren't, it says. But they aren't. It says wives have also substantially upped their work effort. The proportion of year-round full-time working wives has doubled for those with children and increased 50% for those without children. More female work should be leading to more household income, but it isn't. If wives are working and earning more, yet incomes are constant in the households in which they live, mathematically, male earnings have to be falling substantially, which they are. Is that sad? Put simply, in the last quarter of a century, the median American female came to the economic rescue of the median American male. You ought to be thanking those women, okay? You men out there. But looking forward, the future of that median and below median household looks glum. Females are reaching their working limits. One cannot work more than 100% of the time. If male wages continue to fall in the future, wives won't be able to work more hours per year to offset the falling incomes of their husbands, and household incomes and standards of living will have to start falling. So that's one of the tragedies, is that in days gone by, right, when our parents, my mom didn't work when I was growing up. She just didn't work. My dad worked. Now, in virtually every household, both parties are working, the husband and the wife, and people's economic situation is worse than it was in 1989. What does that tell you? People need to make more money. People need to manage their money better. People need to be involved in PFS either through as a client. More importantly, I think they need to be involved as a representative and learn how to increase their income, so that, like Martin Flores is a perfect example. When you started the business, right, Denise was working, right? Then because he did PFS, he still has his job. He does PFS part-time. He's been able to make enough money to allow Denise to stay home with the kids, with the children, right? And their financial situation is better than it's ever been. They paid their debt off. They're in great shape, right? Financially, that's the awesomeness of PFS and why you should get people involved. And you should be talking about those kinds of stories, okay? So it's pretty incredible. So what I want to do is I want to share with you some, what you need to look at your numbers. If you look at your numbers, let's look at, I'm going to use some of you guys here. Has to do with the recruits. In the last 12 months, CB, you recruited 9 personal recruits and 15 in your base shop. You did 25,000 personal premium and 32,000 in your base shop. And you made 21,947, basically with 15 recruits in the last 12 months. Now, what if you quadrupled that and got that to 60, which is not a big jump, by the way. To go to 15 to 60 is no big deal. That's 5 a month. 5 recruits a month. What that would do to your income is it would quadruple your income. That'd take you from 21 to 80 something, right? And you could easily go to 10 recruits a month. If you went to 10 recruits a month, right? There's no reason why you can go to 150 recruits, go 10 times. What that would do is it would do the same thing to your income. Your income would probably go up close to 10 times. If you recruited 150 people in the next 12 months, you probably would make between 150,000 and 200,000. That's what would happen to you. So what do you think you ought to focus on? Recruiting, absolutely. You look at Lynn Massey. Lynn has 30,000 in personal premium, 60,000 in his base shop, 5 personal recruits and 17 in the base, okay? Pretty close to the same number. His income's 25 grand. You notice how CB's and Lynn's income is pretty close to the same amount, and their recruits are 17 and 15. You see that? The correlation? So if they would really get busy, right, and start and if Lynn, you would get your recruiting to the same thing to 10 times, which you could do, okay? That would probably, at a minimum, grow your income 6 to 8 times, okay? Somewhere in that range. That would be the impact. Well, 8 times would be what? It'd be like 200,000 plus. There's no reason why you couldn't make 200,000 plus if you made the focus in the next 12 months on getting your recruiting to 10 times what it is, which is not that difficult to do, especially if you've got people on your team like John and Paul and et cetera, that would help you do that. That's what would happen to your income, okay? The same thing with Martin Flores. Martin's done 34,000 personal and 58,000 in his base. You notice they're all very similar, right? And Martin's recruited 19 personal, little better job, and 24 in a base, again, a little better job. Income 17,000. So income's a little bit off, but the fact is, if you were to grow that number again 10 times, you'd have the same experience, Martin. So recruiting is a key. And this is, by the way, this is year to date. This is from, this is year to date. Okay. Now, I want to point home a picture. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about what I did, okay? Because what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to drive home the fact of what drives your income is recruiting. It really does. And I'm going to show you the correlation of income to recruiting and everything else for that matter. So that what we do from this point forward, our major focus should be, Dan Toscano should be to build a sales force to recruit some people. So what a lot of you have done, and frankly, it's partially my responsibility, my fault, is you've been chasing after production, okay? And not really looking at the recruit, that the recruit would turn into production, okay? Which is what the change that needs to take place here for everybody, okay? 1984, this is my Hector LaMarque's first 5 years in PFS. I'm going to give you my numbers. This is what I did. So whether you've been here a while or not, let's pretend like you're just starting right now and your goal is to do what I did, right? And most of you would like to do what I did. Would you agree with that? Okay. My personal recruits, this is my personal recruiting numbers. In 1984, I recruited 25. Okay. In 1985, I personally recruited 30. In 1986, I recruited 36. In 1987, I recruited 47 personal. Now have you noticed the trend is every year I increased it, right? For the first 4 years. In 1988, it was 26. It dropped. But if you average that out, it's right around 3 recruits a month. That's what I recruited. And if you've heard me talk before, I said I recruited 2 to 4 a month. That's about what I did in the beginning of my career. That's not a huge number. Now, I was recruiting for other people all the time because I was field training. But my personal, that they were my contacts, they were the people that I prospected, was about 3 a month for the first 5 years. Any one of you could do that if you just focused, okay? If that's what you were really trying to do and you're making enough contacts and getting out of your comfort zone. My base shop now in 1984 recruited 32, 7 more than I did, right? So I recruited all those people, but they weren't direct, okay? In 1985, I recruited 64 in my base shop. Again, I recruited all those people for those other people, okay? In 1986, I recruited 99. I recruited virtually all those people myself, okay? Although they were for someone else because I was field training people. In 1987, I recruited 237 people in my base shop. So the recruiting went from 900 to 237. You see that? Pretty big increase. And then in 1988, my base shop recruiting went to 386. And by that time, I was probably personally responsible for recruiting at least 10 or 15 people a month. Now, they weren't direct, but I was the one on the field training sale, closing the person to get involved in the business. Okay? Now, my hierarchy, this is my hierarchy recruits. During the same time period, 1984, I recruited 32 in my hierarchy. Okay, I didn't have a hierarchy. It was a base shop. 85 was 64. Again, I didn't have any RVPs. In 1986, at the end of 86, I think it was December, I promoted my very first RVP. It took me 3 years to do that. I had 108 recruits that year. In 1987, I recruited, it went from 108 to 468. I got 468 recruits that year in my hierarchy. And then in 1988, my recruits went to 1,375. So you can see the difference, right? Plus, I got a lot of people coded. One of the things that we're going to work on and what our whole hierarchy and our base shop needs to work on is when you recruit people that you get them licensed, because if they don't get licensed, they're no good to you. If a person doesn't have a license, they can't transact business, and that doesn't do anything for you, okay? So it's very critical that you watch. If you recruit somebody, you're staying in contact with them. You're babysitting them through the licensing process, calling them constantly. Did you go to school? How was school? If they didn't like it, you got to say, listen, that's the toughest part of the business, just getting through licensing. Just hang in there, get it done. You got to get your license. You already made your $199 investment. Let's get you licensed, okay? And stay with them. Don't just ignore them once they get in school. Call them. Stay in touch with them. That was one of the things I did. So my code numbers in my hierarchy went like this. In 84, I recruited 32 and I got 22 coded, okay? Pretty high percentage. In 85, I recruited 64 and I got 44 of the 64 coded that could ride business. In 1986, I had recruited 108 and I got 108 coded. But every single person I recruited in 1986, I got coded. In 1987, we recruited 468 and we got 241 coded, still in excess of 50%. And in 1988, we recruited 1,375 and we got 781 people coded that year. So you can see what happened to my production. Well, I'll just show you my hierarchy production. My hierarchy production went from 47,000 in 84 with 32 recruits to 153,000 with 64 recruits in 1985. In 1986, I did 226,000 with 108 recruits. In 1987, our recruiting jumped to 468, and we did 1,042,000 in premium that year. And the next year, I did 1,375 recruits, and we did $3 million in life premium. So what happened to my income? Well, with 32 recruits, I did 18 grand in income, which is about what like Lynn and you guys are doing. It's right in that range. It's about how many recruits you're doing. Actually, you did less than that. And you're making about what I made. You see that? Okay. In 1985, I did 64 recruits and my income jumped to 35 grand. And then in 1986, I did 108 recruits and then my income jumped to 86,000. And then I jumped to 468 recruits, which is 400% increase roughly, right? And guess what happened to my income? It grew 400%. It went to 409,000. You see that? And then I went to 1,375 recruits and my income jumped to 855. There's a direct correlation. And so what I'm saying, those of you that are not focusing on recruiting, you're missing the boat completely. You're wanting something to happen that can't happen. Okay, you can't grow your income, grow your business without adding new people on board. So what would you think would be your major focus from this point forward? Recruiting. Everything should lead to recruiting. Should be around recruiting to get people on board. That's how you grow your business. That's how you're going to grow your business. And all that income, by the way, I didn't make, all of it was in life premium because we didn't do PNC. We didn't do much in securities. As a matter of fact, we did no PNCs. We did no mortgages either, okay? In when I had my highest income years, right, in 86, I made $6,900 in securities. I made 86,000. In 87, I made 20,000 in securities income. I did 409 total income. And then in 1988, I made 21,000 in securities. I made 855,000 that year, okay? So all the rest was term life insurance, and we didn't do PNC, and we didn't do loans, and we didn't do, whatever else, legal protection, et cetera, okay? Or the new things we're going to be doing, which is pretty. So have I kind of driven home the point how recruiting is the key? Okay. So one of the things I left a message for Martin that if you're well, how do I prospect? One of the things you should be doing, you should be asking this question of everybody that you meet. Okay. Um, as you're out there doing this, here, Martin, you can role play this with me. Let's say I meet Martin somewhere, right? You know, you meet people and you just be friendly. One of the most important things, I turned it on. One of the most important things that you need to do is you need to become more friendly. Start smiling when you're out of your house, okay? When you see people, be friendly because people, if you're smiling all the time, people will respond in kind. I notice because I smile a lot, and when I see people, I smile, I nod my head. I'm always doing that. I'm always acknowledging people, and people always smile back. You know, it's not once in a while you run into somebody that's maybe having a bad day or something, but for the most part, people are very receptive to that. Okay, it's your best bet to get something going in terms of a conversation is if you're friendly. Okay, think of it this way. Everybody that's a friend of yours today at one point was a stranger. Would you agree with that? Everybody. So you need to take that into consideration. Everybody, even though they're a stranger now, if you got to know them, you would probably like some things about them. Okay. So you need to become friendly. So if let's say I meet Martin, it could be a car wash. It could be at my kid's, soccer game. It could be anywhere, right? In the grocery store, et cetera, et cetera. You guys are out doing things, living your life, and you're running across people every single day, but your radar's not up to pay attention to people around you to the extent it should be. You know, when I was building my business, my radar was up. Everybody that was, around me, I was thinking might possibly be able to, I could get them involved in my business and help them become successful, make some money, and then help myself in the process. Okay. And I don't think most of you think that way all the time. Okay. Instead of saying, I'm going to go to recruit, as you go, you should recruit. Okay. That's what it should be. It should just part of your nature. So if I meet Martin, let's say that we're waiting for our cars at the car wash and I smile at him and I say, hey, you come here often?
Yeah, once in a while, at least twice a week.
You must be from the area then.
Yeah, I live here in Whittier.
Oh man. You know what? I am in the process of growing my business right now and I am just absolutely swamped. What's your name, by the way?
My name's Martin.
Martin. I'm Hector LaMarque. Martin.
Hey,
Nice to
nice to
meet you.
meet you.
Hey, listen, and since you're from the area, maybe you could help me out. I'm looking for some people. I'm so busy right now. I'm busy. I don't know how I'm going to keep up with my thing. Would you know anybody who's interested in maybe doubling their income in the next 12 or 18 months?
Doubling their income?
Right.
Yeah, I might be interested in something like
Really?
that. Yeah.
Oh, well, fantastic. Well, listen, right now I don't really have time to go into detail about it, but if you don't mind, do you have a business card that I could recontact you and send you some information?
No, I don't.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here, I have a piece of paper. Let me write this down. What's your phone number, Martin?
696, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, and your address is?
7204, blah, blah,
Great. Are you married, Martin?
blah. Yeah.
Okay, great, fantastic. Hey, listen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you some information. I'm going to contact you, and then maybe we can get together at a convenient time for both of us. I really only need about 20 minutes to share with you some information. What do you think most people are going to do at this point? They're going to ask a question. What is it, right?
Well, what's this all about, Hector?
Well, it happens to be in the financial service business. Do you have any experience in that business?
With like investments and stuff like that, or?
All those kinds of things. Pretty much everything there has to do with financial service.
Well, I got a 401k and stuff, but no, I don't really.
That's perfect because one of the things that we have a real problem with is when we talk to people that are already in the industry, we have to retrain them. And since you're not in it, you're a perfect candidate. We would much rather have somebody that has no experience. Or he might say, yes, I do have some experience. In that case, I'd say that is perfect. It's going to be so much easier to get you involved because there's going to be a lot less training involved. Okay. Either way, and that's what I would do. I'm just telling you, that's exactly what I would do. Either way, it's fantastic. You with me? Okay. So what I'm going to do, if he starts asking a lot of questions like, well, what exactly do you do? Then I would say ask the question.
Well, what exactly is it though, as far as, what exactly is it that you do?
Well, we do several different things. One of the things we do is we show people how to get completely debt-free. Are you completely debt-free right now, Martin?
Not really.
If I could show you how to get completely debt-free, say in the next 10 years or less, would you be excited about that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's one of the things. The other thing we do is we make sure that people are not only investing, but they're investing in the appropriate investments for their particular situation. Are you 100% confident that you're investing all of your monies exactly where they should be invested right now?
Well, I had my broker take a look at this stuff, and he picked out some investments for me, and I feel pretty confident.
Have you ever double checked it to make sure though?
No, not really, not
Okay.
double check.
You'd like to do that, wouldn't you? Just to make
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I guess I would.
Okay. How about in the areas of protection like your your auto or your life or something like that, are you sure that you have the most protection or the appropriate protection in your particular situation for the best possible cost?
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, those are some of the areas that we help people in. Which one of those 3 areas do you think you'd be most interested in?
just getting out of debt.
Okay, well, great. Then I tell you, when we sit down, I'll bring you more information and we'll talk a little bit more about that, okay?
Okay.
That's what I do, just like that. And then you set up the appointment. Set it up. What's a good day for you? I would probably try to. I asked him, you're married, right? When you make decisions of any kind, Martin, usually it's probably you and your wife's name was
Denise.
Denise, okay?
Yeah.
And I'd write that down and make sure I've got his name right. And by the way, do you have any kids?
Yeah, I got a couple
Oh,
kids. Yeah.
fantastic. What are their ages?
2 and 7.
Wow, that's a great age. That's fantastic. They're like busier than all get. I bet you Denise is driving them all over God's
Oh, yeah.
creation right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, definitely. It's
So I
crazy.
would be talking like that, just casual. Well, I tell you what, what's a better day for you guys to get together? I've got this Monday and this Wednesday available. Which one of those days makes more sense for you?
We're usually pretty busy during the whole week. I
Hmm.
got soccer practice with my daughter and,
Okay.
just a
A
lot
lot
of
of things
different
going
things
on.
going on.
Well,
Yeah.
you're exactly the kind of person I'm really interested in talking to because busy people generally get things done. And that for me is really fantastic that you are busy. So which one of those days can we squeeze in, 20 or 30 minutes?
Well, at this point, I don't know. I have to talk it over with my wife
Okay,
and ask
and
her about it
I tell you
since
what, why don't you talk to Denise tonight? I'll give you a call later this evening and we'll work out a time then, okay?
all right.
Okay,
That's good.
fantastic. So I'm not going to push it. Talk to her. I'll call him later tonight, 9 o'clock or whatever,
Yeah.
8:30, and I'd set up the appointment. Now, if he tries to say, well, I talked to Denise and
We're
she's
not really
really not
yeah.
interested, I would go back to I say, Martin. Let's say he says that.
Well, what, Hector, okay, you just called me. Oh, Hector, you know what? I talked it over with my wife, and we feel we're doing pretty good right now, and I'm not gonna need any of your help at this point.
Martin,
But
let
I
me.
got your number though, so
Okay,
just
great, Martin. I understand that, but generally, when people say that to me, you've talked and you're afraid that I'm going to come over and possibly waste your time or try to get you involved in something you're really not interested in getting involved in. Is that kind of how you're feeling right now, Martin?
well,
Honestly, just be honest with you. It doesn't matter. I'm tough skinned. I won't get my feelings hurt.
just a little bit, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's normal. That happens to me all the time. So that's not a problem. I don't take it personally. But let me ask you a couple of questions, Martin. Do you have a debt freedom date set already?
No, not a debt freedom day.
Do you
No.
know you don't know exactly when you're going to
Well,
have
I
a
know
debt?
when my mortgage will be paid off, probably
Yeah, but
30
that's
years,
like what, 20 some years
about
probably?
29 years.
Okay. So if you could get completely debt free in the next 10 years, I'm just curious, why wouldn't you sit down with me and allow me to help you to do that? If I could help you get out of debt in 10 years instead of 30, can you think of some reason why we couldn't sit down and discuss that?
Not at this point.
Okay. That's one of the things I'm going to do. And the other thing is, do you have a financial independence date? And most
Uh,
people don't know what that is.
no,
So,
what is that?
well, that's a date
Finance
that knowing exactly the date and the amount of money you have to have set aside and how to get there to be completely financially dependent. In other words, not needing your job to take care of you. Do you have that date set up already? And do you know how you're going to get there exactly?
No, I got the 401k going though, and we're both aggressively investing in our
Okay,
401ks
but
and
do you
stuff.
know the date and do you know that you're making exactly the correct investment decisions when it comes to those things? Are you
N
sure, 100% confident of
No, I'm
that?
not 100%.
Okay, so you'd want to be 100% confident because this is a very important thing. Because if I could show you how you could get there 5 or 10 years sooner than you're planning on it, just by making a couple little minor changes, you'd want to do that, right?
Yeah, I guess I would.
Okay, so then let's get together. I know you're a little hesitant, but let's do that. I promise you, I won't waste your time. I give you my word of honor. If I come over, I'm not going to waste your time because if I waste your time, Martin, is there any chance that you would point me in the direction of other people that you know and care about?
No, that
No,
wouldn't.
you're not going to do that. So I'm not going to waste your time. It's not in my best interest. And frankly, my time's really valuable too, and I'm not going to waste my time either. So I know that we have something, I have something I could help you with. And I know if you see it and you're really excited about it, it may be something that could help you even more than just in terms of being a client. It could help you in a lot of different ways. So, the old saying, right? Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right?
Right.
Well, let's take a few minutes, 20, 30 minutes out of your life and make sure you're doing all the right things. The worst case scenario, you're going to have information that's going to make you and save you probably tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars in your lifetime. And none of us can afford to bypass that. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
All right. So again, which day's better for you? We could squeeze it
Um,
in just 30 minutes. We're not going to be taking a lot of
Usually the
time. So,
weekend's a little bit easier for
okay,
us.
Saturday afternoon, late afternoon, like say 3 or 4 o'clock. Would that work
About
for you?
4 o'clock would be
Four
good.
o'clock.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I've got your address. Then mark that down in your calendar. I'm marking it down in mine. I know you're a man of your word, so I know you'll be there. I'm not going to even worry about that. I won't even bother calling. I'm just going to show up. Okay.
All right.
Fantastic. See you then. That's how I'd set it up. And it's going to go like that, where you're going to have some challenges, right? And you notice what I did. I never panicked. I didn't get up flustered. I just kept asking questions. When you listen to this tape, I want you to pay attention to the fact that I'm always asking questions. I'm not talking a lot. Almost everything I'm saying is in the form of a question, and very rarely do I give a lot of information. Pay attention to that, okay? That's really critical to your success. Generally, when you start panicking or you get nervous and people flustered, you start talking and telling them all kinds of stuff, which they don't care. They don't even listen to that, okay? So very important. Okay, what I want to do next then is I want to share with you one of the things that I would do, okay? This is how I would prepare to become to recruit people. First thing I would do is I would get together, if you are in this situation, your assets under management page. Okay, some of you are not securities licensed, and some of you don't have this yet. In this case, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to use just an F&A, but I'm going to show you how to use that as well. But if I was you, okay, and I had an assets under management account, what I would do is I'd get that. Looks like this. This is one of mine, okay? I have a lot of clients. You can see, right? I would get that. And some days yours is going to look like this, okay? I mean, it's going to grow, but you don't need a lot. Look for the ones that are the best ones. What I'll do is, one of the things that I would do is I'd look for maybe 10 of them, probably as many as you need, 10, and I would put that on a page, all those 10 people. What I would do also is I'd call my clients to see if they would allow me to use their information, and if they would allow me to put their phone number there in case I had a client that was hesitant about going ahead with me, because I would use clients that we've had some success with, of course, a lot of success with. I'd call up, the Brasinas, and I'd say, Ramon, would you do me a favor? This is Hector, and we have a relationship already. They're a client of mine. Listen, you invested some money with us. You invested $8,000 in 1988 with us. Today, that's worth $29,000. Are you pretty happy with the results? Okay, because it's grown like 400% or so almost, right? During that time period. Well, sometimes I run across clients, Ramon, that are a little hesitant in going ahead. Would you do me a favor? Okay, would
Sure.
you do me a favor and allow me to use your name and allow me to put your phone number? You probably won't get any calls, or very rarely, but once in a while, because it doesn't happen very often, but once in a while, would you allow them to just give you a call and just say, hey, listen, I'm talking to this Hector LaMarque fellow, and he said that you've helped him a lot. What has he done for you? And then you just tell him whatever you want to tell them. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but you can tell. Would you mind doing that for me?
No, I don't mind. I'll do that for you.
Fantastic. So I'd get their approval to do that. Just really all he is a credibility source. And I'd get 5 or 6 or 10 of them, however many I could get, right? And if you don't have this yet, then get with your upline and use theirs, okay? And so that's what I would do in getting that. And the same thing with the F&A. If you had an F&A that you did for somebody, would you allow? I'm not going to give one thing you want to make sure, and there's confidentiality. You don't want to give any information that's not. And you're like, what I would probably put is I'd put Ramon, B. I wouldn't put all his information. I'm not going to put his social security number. I'm not going to put his account numbers or anything. I'm just going to say, made a purchase in, say, American Capital or Smith Barney on 388, invested $8,000. Value as of this is 698, 29,049. That's it. That's all the information. They don't need any more information. Just what they invested, when they did that, what it's worth today. You with me? Okay. If you had several of those, and then I'm going to show you how to use that. The other thing is with the F&A. So let me show you how to use this information. Maybe I can get you guys, the percentage Mel and Ramon, to come up here. We'll get a couple of chairs and we'll sit down here, and I'm going to cover this information with you guys. Let's assume now, that way you guys can see. Let's use this chair. Let's assume that that we have already sat down with them. I've already gone through the presentation and all that, and this is where we're at. All right, the presentation's done, and I'm going to try to turn every single presentation into a recruiting process. All right, that's what I'm going to do, and that's what you should be doing. Every time you sit down with a client, that should be turned into not just that you're going to help them, but you're going to try to recruit them. So let's say we went through, and I went through the whole presentation. That doesn't take a long time. It's probably 20 or 30 minutes maximum. And I would get to, when I got to the point of trying to get their information out, one of the things I'd say, we've been talking for a little bit, Mel and Ramon, and you may or may not be interested in this, but we're always looking for people. One of the things that might happen, we talked about, is that you may have a shortfall, right? And and if you have a shortfall, I asked you the question. You have two options. You can either reduce your goals and dreams, or you can increase your income. And you opted for what?
Increasing our
Increase.
income.
Well, I want to just show you that our income opportunity. But I think before we do that, I want to share with you why I got involved in PFS and why I'm so excited about it and why I made a career choice to go full time and to make this my life. And because I used to be in the retail jewelry business, and I did okay. I was making about $55,000 a year at that, and my wife was an X-ray technician, making in the $30,000 range, and we were doing okay. This was like in 1983, 84. And when I started going out, and I got involved in PFS first on a part-time basis, that's how I started, because I thought I could make some extra money to pay. You have some debt to pay that debt off and that sort of thing, and save a little more money than I was saving. What got me excited is about what we did for people more than anything, because the fact is, if you're going to get involved in some kind of a business, you seem like the kind of people to me that what we did for people, and how good it was for people would be more important than the money you could earn. Am I right in assuming that?
Oh, yeah, most
Huh?
definitely.
Okay. And if you're anything like me, that's how you felt. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples of some of the things we've been able to do. I've been able to do for some of my clients. Let me just share with you one of these people first. Now, this is what I would have right here. I'd have this as part of my little thing here. I'd say, see this guy here, Bruce. Bruce invested 8,000 with me on 388. Okay. As of 698, that's $29,149. That's a pretty decent return, right? That period of
Wow.
time is about 10 years, and it's 300 and some percent
Just
increase.
that 8,000
Just the
grew to
8,000
that.
grew to 29,000. Okay.
Wow.
So that's pretty good, right? And then this guy, James, right here, on 689, he invested 25,000 with me, and his account's worth, as of 698, 93,000. That
Where's
pretty
that?
well, that's what we're going to talk about. That's one of the reasons we need to do the F&A, is so I can show you how to do that. This other John right here, actually here, John invested. This is pretty interesting here. This gentleman invested 50,000 on 892. He withdrew 31,974, and his account today is worth 73,000.
After you took out
He
that
took
money?
out 31. He invested 50 originally, took out 31, and his account's worth 73 grand. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And then this is right here, John C. on 789 invested 75,525 with me, and today that's actually, as of June, is worth $242,000.
That's incredible.
So what does that mean? Well, let me just point out, because see, this is why I'm so excited about it and what we do for people, because these guys are pretty excited about me right now. Would you think?
Sure.
They're
Sure.
pleased with me. Now look, remember we went to the rule of 72, and if you invest your money, you divide the rate of return into the number 72, and that gives you the number of years it takes for you to double. As you can see here, the return here on some of these is in excess of 12%. Of course, that's what's happened in the past. That doesn't indicate any future performance. There's no guarantees, but that's what it's done. So I just want to give you an idea. Let's assume that it did, if it averaged at 12%. That 242,000 in 6 years is going to be worth 484,000. Okay, in the next 6 years. If it did that again for 12 years, it'd be 968,000. And if we went 18 years and it just averaged that over that time period, he'd have $1,936,000 in his account with an initial investment of $75,000, which would give him $193,000 in additional retirement income. That's in addition to his Social Security. That's in addition to any monies he might have saved with his 401k or something at work. So is that impressive?
Very
That's
impressive.
incredible.
Now, if you could do this for your brother, your best friend, or your coworkers, or share this information, you want to do that, right?
Sure.
You'd
Sure.
probably share this information free, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so that's the kind of difference. Can you kind of get a better understanding of why I'm so excited about this?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it must feel good to
It
do that for
does.
those people.
It really does. And so when you go see people, you have the potential to really impact their lives in a significant way, because this is not like getting them to lose 10 pounds on a weight loss diet or help them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
This
it would
is like
work.
changing their life. I mean, literally changing their life. So whenever I go into somebody's home, I know I have the possibility to completely change their life and make a significant impact in their life and in their children's lives as well. Because you could imagine they were going to retire well. Their kids don't have to take care of them. If they're saving for retirement, I can show them how to do that and make sure their kids get educated. There's so many great things that come from being involved in our business that I've been able to experience, as well as there's an income opportunity. For example, on this $75,000 investment with John, I made, I don't know, that it took me probably a couple of hours to do that, because I had to do some work and I had to figure out what was appropriate investment for him. But I probably made somewhere in the area of around, $1,500 or something.
Wow.
But look, who's a real winner here? If I made 15, but he's worth 242 right now, and could be worth as much as $1.9 million, who's a real winner in this
They
situation?
are.
John
Oh,
is,
by
yeah.
far. So wouldn't you agree a small fee is more than fair if we make that kind of difference for people?
Sure.
The reason I'm pointing that out, because a lot of times people are really concerned with making money on their friends. They don't want to take you to see people because they're on their family or whatever. What I want to do is I want to put to rest that objection that they don't ever tell you, but is real and there. That's what's happening right there. That's what I'm trying to do there. And let me just go a little bit further. Let me show you, the financial needs analysis and what that does. This is a client that allows to use their information. This is Jack and Donna Ryan from Anytown, Georgia, which is obviously we changed that to protect him. But if you look at what we've done for him, and what I would do here, I have the F&A, but I would get a page together with my F&A. I wouldn't go through the F&A, all right, because it takes too long to go through the F&A. I would have a little summary page that would have all the pertinent information that I wanted to share with them in the F&A on one page that would be part of the F&A. You with me? And I would have 3 of them, 3 good F&As with 3 different scenarios, and I would show them each one. And you say, well, that's overkill. No, it's not, because what I want to make sure is when I get done with this, they are so convinced that what we do for people is unbelievable that, number one, they want to do an F&A. They can't wait. Okay, that's part of my motivation. Number 2, that they will not hesitate to give me referrals. Even if they end up not doing the business, they're going to feel so good about what I'm doing that they want to tell people they care about me. And number 3, I want to motivate them to get involved in my business, knowing that this is just not about selling something. This is about making a difference. This is about helping people. This is what we do. And some of you don't believe that, enough. So that's why you're so hesitant to talk to people and you're not aggressive. If you felt that you were going to, every time you sat down with, you were going to save their financial life, you would probably be a lot more aggressive. But you in your own mind aren't convinced yet, which is why you're not doing as well as you could do. I, on the other hand, was completely convinced that people would be better off to see me, which is why I was so aggressive and didn't take no for an answer and got so creative at trying to get the appointment that I knew once I got the appointment that they were going to go ahead. You with me? I knew it. And so that's what you've got to do. That's what I'm doing here. And you might be saying, well, this takes a long time to do this, but if this does what it's supposed to do, the 10 or 15 or even 20 minutes that it takes to cover this information is going to end up making your life 100 times easier. I'm telling you, okay? It just will. So I say, well, let me show you this information on Jack and Donna Ryan. This client, before they sat down with us, and I'd have it right here, and all this information is right here, but I just, and you can look at this at your leisure if you like, but let me just summarize what we did for this client and what we do for virtually every client we sit down with. It's the numbers are different, but the outcome is very similar to what we did for Jack and Donna here. Before they sat down with us, they had $85,000 in the retirement account and they were saving $125 a month. But on that pace, based on their situation, they were only going to be able to retire for 7 years and they would run out of money. Not a good situation, right?
No.
But by implementing the strategies that we came up with here in this F&A, right? Putting together those strategies and then by implementing, just by increasing that from $125 a month to $405 a month, assuming they averaged a 12% rate of return, they're going to end up with $2.2 million at retirement, which is going to allow them to retire until their life expectancy. Okay. I mean, is that a big difference?
That's a huge
Yeah.
difference.
It's a huge difference. Okay. And it's not a huge difference in the amount of money. So one of the things we do, you can see we increase the amount that they're investing. And one of the things we do with the F&A is that's the tool that we use to find that money. A lot of times people say, I don't have any extra money, but I'm telling you, if you did an F&A, we could find that money for you. Okay. Because it's there. You just haven't really, looked hard enough and allocated things in the appropriate way. One of them is get rid of debt, right? Okay. So what we did here, based on their situation, he had, was going to be out of debt in the year 2050 and was going to pay $91,000 in interest on that debt. Okay.
2050.
Yeah. Well, that's because based on the way he was going, that's what it was going to be. Once we set up our debt freedom program for him and showed him some concepts that would help him, and I'll talk to you those to you once we get your F&A completed. So you see, once we get your F&A, I'm assuming they're going to go ahead with that, right? Always assuming. So once we get yours done, we're going to do the same thing for you. Instead, now they're going to be out of debt in the year 2009, assuming they follow our plan here. And what that's going to do when the debt's paid off in 2009, which is really, basically 10 or 11 years from now, right? Imagine being debt-free in 10 or 11 years from now. I mean, everything, your house paid off, your car's paid off, every single thing.
Everything.
Everything.
Well, that'd be
Everything.
great.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Well, yeah.
How much lower would your stress level be?
I'd have none.
You'd have none, right? You'd be able to do a lot of fun things, right? Travel and do something.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is let's assume that they pay it off. They're going to have $1,533 a month extra because that's what they're paying towards their debt right now. So that money, if we invested that at that time till they're age 65, would give them another $1.8 million in addition to the $2.2 million at retirement, just by following that one simple strategy. You with me?
It's almost like $4 million.
That's
already.
exactly what it is. It's $4 million at retirement, assuming they follow everything, right? So about this time, is the client pretty pumped up?
Sure.
Can you think of any client that would say no to this if you sat down and shared this information with them, if you were able to do this?
No.
Nobody you probably would want to do business with anyways, right? Because they'd be pretty slow. So the other thing that we were able to do there in the area of protection, right? Jack had $125,000 of protection on himself if he was to die prematurely, and Donna had $75,000. They were paying $105 a month for basically $200,000. We, in doing our analysis, found that Jack needed $368 and Donna needed $343, and we were able to do that for him for $93 a month. So in effect, we increased their protection from $200,000 to $711,000. The cost actually went down. Is that a huge difference?
For the both of them?
For both of them. For the both of them. That's the kind of difference we make right there because they weren't aware of that they were spending too much. See, and I don't know, do you know exactly that you have the absolute best program available for you guys in the area of protection?
Probably not the best.
Okay, well, we're going to find out, okay? And if it is, I'll let you should keep that. And if it's not, we're going to make some changes, okay?
Sure.
Okay, again, I'm assumptive here, right? If it's the best, we're going to keep it. If not, we're going to make some changes. We're going to get that approval up front, all right? Now, but what I'm really excited about on this part of the protection, if something were to happen to Jack and Donna, if they died prematurely, their family, their kids, right, would get $70,000 a year in income at 10% if they were to invest that $700. If they would have kept what they had, they would their family would only get $20,000 a month in income. Do you see that? So if you took that over a 20-year period, $70,000 a year over 20 years is $1.4 million in income versus $20,000 a year for 20 years is $400,000 in income. You see the kind of difference we're making?
Sure.
Now you get into a better feeling like why I'm so giddy. I'm so pumped up about what we do. It's incredible, and I can't wait to see more people. And what I need some help. I'm looking for people that want to do something like this, make a difference in people's lives, and also at the same time make some money in doing that. Does that sound like something you based on what I showed you that you'd be kind of curious about finding out more about?
Definitely be curious about
Sure.
it.
So let's say that you did this particular scenario for this client. You would make anywhere from if you did all these things that I just showed you here for Jack and Donna, your income, depending on your level in our company, could be as much as anywhere from $500 to maybe as much as $2,000 you would earn for doing this.
Wow.
Okay. So what ends up happening, you might invest, 6 hours in helping them, and you might make $500 to $2,000. So that works out to,
In 6 hours?
yeah, in 6 hours. So
Mhm.
if you made 500 in 6 hours or 2,000 in 6 hours, do you think that you would be open to trying something like that? If I could teach you how to do that, can you think of any logical reason why you wouldn't at least give it a shot?
No.
Huh?
No, not at all.
But the thing I want to really make sure that you're aware, you really see here is that even if you made $2,000, look what we've done. We put an additional potentially $4 million in the retirement account. We're able to save them $19,000 in interest, right? Which is a big chunk of cash, and we're able to give them over 300% more protection for less money. So in the final analysis, even if you earned a fee of $2,000, who's a real winner in this case right here?
Looks like the client.
The client
Yeah.
wins huge. We make a fee, probably, save a little, spend it, whatever, but the client ends up the real benefactor in the end. You see that? So I want you to feel comfortable that if you take me to see somebody, we go together and we go see your brother. You have a brother, right?
Mhm.
You have any brothers or sisters?
I have sisters.
You have some good friends, right? If you
Sure.
take me to see anybody, you guys, I want you to know up front, I give you my word, that unless we can substantially improve their current situation, like I showed you here,
Right.
we're not going to ask for their business. We're not going to get anybody involved that you care about into anything that's not truly in their best interest. So I want you to feel real comfortable about us going to see people. We're going to go give them this information. If it makes sense, we'll go ahead. And if it doesn't, we won't. You feel okay with that?
I feel okay, but can I ask you a question? It seems great. I mean, I can't believe you make that much money, but how much is it going to cost like my brother to put this
to get
program
this plan?
together. Yeah.
What would you think would be a fair price for something like that?
Would be a fair price?
Yeah.
Probably like $100.
Okay. So if it was less than that, it would be an unbelievable opportunity for him, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, because
Okay.
it seems like it
How
costs a
about
lot
if
of money to
how
do
about if we could do it complimentary?
for free.
If we could do that, would you take me to see him?
Sure.
Okay, great. We'll do that then. So what did I do? I got an appointment with her brother. See, instead of saying, "Oh, don't worry, it's free," you don't want to jump in and do it. Ask questions. You see? Ask the questions and lead them. See? That's what you want to do. Ask a question. What would it be worth? If I could, if we could take him, if it could be complimentary, would you do that? Yes. Okay. Well, let's do that then. Now, she already told me she'd do it. Now we're going to do it. I'm going to assume she's a person of her word, and we're going to do that. So, what I need for you guys to do right now is get all your information so we can start your F&A, right? So I need this, this, and this, and this, and you go over the details of what you need. You know how to do that, okay? And then the other thing I need, you could do that for me, all right? Would you? Who knows where all the
Good
stuff's at? Oh, you know it, Mel. Mel knows everything, right? You're like me and Shannon. If I had to look for anything, I would be lost. I'd be looking for years. So, okay, Mel, you go get up all the stuff that we're talking about here. Here's a list. I'll give you that list. You find all that stuff. And I'm going to go get your address book for me, okay? Because what we're going to do is we're going to put together a list of the people that you care about the most that we're going to see first, okay?
Sure.
All right. Would you mind if I took them out a couple of nights a week?
No, not at all.
If
You're
I
gonna
could
make
show
him $2,000.
Well, I mean, maybe even a lot more than that if he's a go-getter. You wouldn't have a problem with that, Mel?
Not at all.
Okay, great. Well, then we're going to become buds, and I'm going to teach you how to do this. We're going to have some fun at doing this too. It's going to be awesome. Hey, listen, I'm really excited about working with you. I mean, just in getting to know you this little short time here. I mean, you guys, you have a beautiful home, and you've done well with your children and all that. And I just, you are exactly the kind of people that do well in our business. You really are. You don't know this because you've not done it, but I'm telling you, you're the perfect profile. You're married. You both have good jobs. You have a nice home. Everything about you screams of success. All we've got to do is let me teach you how to do the business, and then we're gonna have a ball. We're gonna be able to do some of the things you were talking about. You like to travel, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, we're gonna get to that point, and some of the things that Ramon you like to do, and when you like cars and some things like that. So we're gonna anything that you want is doable here, okay? And we're gonna show you how to do that, and I'm gonna hold your hand the whole way. I'm gonna coach you through it step by step. So if you get a little nervous, I don't know, am I gonna learn all this stuff? Don't worry about that. Yeah, it's gonna take you a little time, but I'm gonna coach you and walk you through that, just like everything else you've done in the past. It takes a little energy, a little time. You just invest that with me. We have a fabulous program in our office. We have training, very comprehensive. It's state of the art. And we have everything's on computer. Got just you name it. Got the whole 9 yards. So you're gonna be. I think you're gonna be really impressed about what we're gonna do. So again, go get the stuff and let's get started. All right. Thank you guys. So that's basically what I would do with these people. That help you at all? Okay. Are there any questions? Any questions? How long have we been going here? Okay, we've got 10 minutes. Question. Come up here and talk into the mic, okay, if you have any questions.
When and how would you, in the 199, would you even mention that?
They probably asked, what does it start to get started? And I would, whenever it came up, I wouldn't honestly worry about that too much. The most important thing that I would be focusing on is getting the list together, getting them to get excited about doing that and give me a list of names. And then if we could do it that night, if we had the time and it made sense, I would literally get them on the phone and have them set up those appointments, 2 or 3 or 4 appointments for me that night. That's what I would do. One of the things I see a lot of you making the mistake, you get somebody, they say they're interested, and then you say, well, why don't you come to a meet, like let's say it's Wednesday, right? You say, well, why don't you come back to our meeting next Tuesday? You let a whole week go by that you could have gotten 2 or 3 appointments done. You could have made something happen and you wasted a whole week. That's lunacy, okay? I just said if I could, I'd get them in the field the next night. If I had an opening or a night after that or whatever, I would make that happen right now, because when people are emotionally engaged is when you want to move, okay? If they're emotionally engaged, you're going to make them, help them make a decision and do something right now. So don't be afraid. If I'm talking to Ralph and I say, Ralph, are you pretty pumped about what we're doing here and what we did for these people? Who do you care about the most, Ralph, that we could Who do you care about the most, Ralph, that we could see right away? I mean, who are your people that you really love?
Probably my sister and my friend.
Your sister and your friend. Okay, what's their name?
Ophelia.
Ophelia and
Abel.
Gabriel? Abel.
Mhm.
Okay. I tell you what, you know their numbers by heart, right?
Right.
Let's get on the phone. Let's give them a call and let's set something up to go see them in the next couple of nights. And I'll help you through it, okay? Just tell them what I did for you, and you're really excited. You want to share this information. If they give you a hard time, say, look, this is so incredible. You can't tell me no. When can we get together? I mean, I've got to show this thing. You don't have to make any decisions or any commitments, but this you've got to see this, okay? That's all I want you to say.
I can do that.
You can do that, can't you? All right, let's do it. And now he's excited right now. Let's do it. Let's get those appointments going. Don't wait. Close. You guys need to start closing. One thing is you talk, but you don't close. You need to ask. If you don't ask, nothing happens. Be very assumptive. Right? The worst thing is they'll try to fight you, and then you overcome that and keep going anyways, okay? Any other questions?
How about if somebody is interested, but they live kind of far and you want to bring them to the opportunity night? How do you handle that?
Okay, have you already sat down with them and done?
I've talked to them about it.
Okay, what I would do if they're far away, okay, because if they're far away, the thing that I would do is I'd go sit down with them one-on-one and do what I did here, do a presentation and show them this, because the more, if you're bringing them from a distance or from anywhere, the better, the clearer they are of what you're doing, and what an incredible thing is, the more motivated, then the distance, it becomes a non-issue. If they see there's tremendous value and it's going to make a huge difference and it's really fantastic, then if it's an hour or 45 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes, who cares, right? They're not going to care. But if they're not clear on what it's about and you try to get them to invest, they're thinking, no, it's going to take an hour to get there. It's going to take an hour to get back. It's going to be another day. It's going to take me 3 or 4 hours. And I don't even know what this is about. I don't know if it's any good or not. And so they're going to think of about 40 different reasons why they shouldn't do it. You with me? But if you sat down with them first, you did an appointment, you showed them what we did, you showed them what I just went through right there in that little short segment there, or something to that effect, your likelihood of getting them pumped up about taking a closer look increases exponentially, and distance then becomes most likely a non-issue. Okay, so that's what I would do first. All right? That's a good question.
During that part of the presentation, when you're showing the 3 different FNAs, are those example FNAs or are those actual FNAs from other clients?
Those I would use. You could use. That's an example FNA that I went over that the company I think utilizes. But you can use your own FNAs. You need to get permission from your clients. I wouldn't give them any information other than the bottom line, like I did right there. I'm not going to show them their. I wouldn't even show their full name or anything unless the client would okay that with me. And what I would do too is with those 3 FNAs, I would get their permission to allow me to give somebody their phone number if they wanted to call them, just to ask them questions to confirm that what I'm telling them is in fact true. Okay, I would do that because now you've got it. That way, if you have something that's really skeptical, you say, look, do me a favor. Here's their telephone numbers. You call them. If you're not completely comfortable with what I'm telling you, you call them and you get the confirmation. I'm telling you what I'm telling you is absolutely factual. Because sometimes you'll run across people that just don't believe you, okay? And that way, if you do offer that up, I mean, what else can you do then? If they don't want to do that, then you need to move on, okay? But I would use, if you have you guys done some FNAs that are pretty decent for some people?
Yeah, but no, I was concerned about confidentiality.
I wouldn't share any of the information other than the bottom line. I would get permission from the client before I was to do that, okay? That's what you need to do. You need to get permission from the client if you're going to use any information from a client, all right? And again, I wouldn't show anything that was confidential at all to anybody.
Most people, they'll say, well, I understand that you did that for other people, but I'm not sure, you can do that for me. I would like to see what happens with me first and see how it goes. And things go well, then maybe we can do something.
Okay, that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. So then let's go ahead and do yours. Just implement your FNA. If it goes like I'm telling you and you feel confident that what I'm telling you is actually, correct, then at that point, you're telling me you're going to feel more comfortable going ahead and contacting the people, right?
Right, because
Okay.
I'd like to see what happens to me first.
I have no problem with that whatsoever. Well, let's get busy. Let's get yours done in the next 24 hours, and let's get back together and let's see. I already know what the outcome's going to be, so I'm not even the least bit concerned about that. So let's get it done, and I'll be back. I'll be back with the information within 48 hours, and we'll then proceed with the rest of the things that we talked about. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, that's how I would handle that. You don't want to put. You don't need. Again, we're going to be doing numbers here, so it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter.
Hector, how do you go about qualifying the recruits or the referrals they're going to give you or the people that they're going to go to first?
Well, what I do is when they give me the names, I'm going to ask questions. You should have when you put your list, it has all the questions on there. You say, okay, are they married? Do they own a home? Do they, have a job? Blah, blah, blah. It's all on your input sheet. What you do when you do your referrals, right? You all have that. Okay, have you seen that? That's how you do it. That's how you
So
qualify them.
so then once you get the list, then you say, okay, these would be the top people to go to.
Exactly. You would qualify because you're going to ask all those questions. Are they married? Do they own a home?
Mhm.
Do they have a job? What's their income? Do they have children, etc. So based on how you fill in the blanks on that sheet with the referrals that or the people they want to go see, that would dictate who you're going to go see first. Okay. And obviously, if you're putting this list together, you're always going to go see 5 pointers first. Okay. Always. Don't you let people take you. I wouldn't let anybody take me to see a 3-pointer, just no possible way. Maybe a 4-pointer if I got enough good information. Maybe they're divorced, but they make $70,000 a year and they're really good shape and all this stuff. But no chance am I going to see a 3-pointer, not on a bet, okay? If you want to go see them once your license, go see them, okay? But I ain't seeing them because that's not our market.
And you explain that to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because you want the best possible chance to succeed, don't you? Okay, so then you need to listen to me and do what I tell you to do. Otherwise, you're not going to succeed. It's as simple as that. Okay.
Hector, there's two different types of people we can go see: the very warm market and then also the lukewarm market. Could you give examples of the very warm market? What you would say to them? What you would have your new recruit say to them on the phone, and then also once they run out of that, let's say the 10 people, what you would say to their lukewarm market?
If it's a real warm market, I mean, just like I said earlier, I mean, you're just going to tell them, Martin, hi, this is Hector. Listen, I got to show you something. I just sat down with, Ralph Chavarin, this guy, and he showed me some stuff about my finances, about where we're headed. This was unbelievable. I mean, normally I wouldn't call you, but I'm so excited about this. You've got to see this thing, man. It's unbelievable. I mean, the difference he made is going to make in my financial future is just amazing. When can we get together? And that would just be direct. And he says, well, I'm not interested. Look, just sit down. I'm not asking you to make any decisions or make a commitment. Just sit down. These are people you know, right? You can talk to directly. Be direct with them. Look, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to ask you to do something that's not in your best interest. I'm not going to take advantage of our relationship. Let's just sit down. Let me show it to you. Okay? That's how I do that. Now, if it was lukewarm, then I would be a little more, subtle. If I was talking to Dave Simpkins and Dave's a friend, an acquaintance, but he's not my best bud, right? I would say, hi, Dave, this is Hector LaMarque. How you doing? Here, we can even role play this. How you doing, Dave? I'm doing great. Hey, listen, I'm in the process right now of getting started in this business that I'm really excited about, and I wanted to talk to you about it because I know that you could benefit. Now, generally, some of the people I've called, they're really concerned about whether I'm going to come over and try to sell them something they don't want or waste their time. And first of all, I want to put that fear aside. I just want to share it with you. I'm so excited. The difference that it made for me is so dramatic that I feel really compelled to share this information with you. Would you do me a favor and take a look at it? You don't have to make a commitment. I'm not asking you to do anything one way or the other. If you see something you really like, it makes sense for you, you can go ahead and take advantage of it. If not, I know at a minimum you're going to get some benefit in terms of some information that could really be beneficial financially for you, where you could maybe retire in better shape, or you could lower your taxes or eliminate your debt or something like that, because they do a lot of fabulous things. When can we get together so I could just kind of pop by and share this information with you?
Okay,
I've got
well,
Wednesday and Thursday of this week open. Which one of those days is better for you?
well, Thursday would be good. You just want me to look at this?
Yeah, just look at it. If you see something you like, you can take advantage. If not, no worries, okay?
Okay.
I don't want you to think that I'd use our relationship in any way to try to get you involved in something that you're not interested in. I would not do that because it just wouldn't be appropriate, okay?
All right.
Would you be okay with that and help
Sure.
me out?
Sure.
Fabulous. That's what I do, something like that. And be honest and direct. That's the thing you've got to do, is be honest and direct and do it. More importantly, it's not exactly the words, it's that you do it. Most of you just simply don't do it, or you don't do it enough. And so as a result, you don't get results. The results are sporadic. Every other month something happens, But if you're constantly doing this all the time, you're going to be amazed at the results you get.
How do you deal with the objection that the person works at nights?
You see them during the day. Okay? If they say I work at night, you say, well, I tell you what, Some of the people that you work with work at night? Do you work 7 days a week?
Nope.
Okay, which days do you have off?
Mondays and Tuesdays.
Okay, so those are the days that's perfect. Mondays and Tuesdays, we can work that night. Those are the nights we see somebody.
Thanks a
That's all
lot.
you do, okay? Anyways, that's enough because that's all we have on the tape. But I just wanted to make sure we're going to get this tape done, I want you to listen to this over and over and over and over and over and over again until you get down the concept. Again, let me just reiterate. This is what you're trying to do, okay? You're trying to put aside people's fears, and the way you do that is you show them how incredible it is what we do for our clients. That's the main thing, because people that you're trying to get involved in a business, most of the people that we're going to recruit, probably somewhere in the 90% range, have never been in sales before. So they're not going to feel comfortable going to try to sell something. But if they feel like what you do is so fabulous for people that they really just have to explain and share the information with them, they're going to be much more willing to go forward. They're just going to. And they're going to be much more willing, at a minimum, like I said, to give you referrals and to take you to see people. They're going to. And they're going to be more willing to give it a try. That's the big thing. So make sure you let them know in certain terms what an awesome job. Give them as many examples as they need in order to make them feel comfortable. If you approach it that way every time, I guarantee you, even the person that's just greedy and wants to make money, they're going to go, wow, this is so incredible. I can make a bunch of money doing this, right? Either way, and if they're really kind of nervous about selling and talking to their friends and whatever, they're going to feel more comfortable because they're going to go, gosh, what you guys do is so incredible. And you're going to find that the resistance to get new people in the field is going to go down. One of the reasons that people that are brand new have a problem getting them in the field is they still don't believe that you're going to do a great job for their friends, their relatives. They're not sure about that. They're still afraid you're just going to try to use their warm market to sell products and stuff like that. And so then they're going to be hesitant. So what happened for me, because I took the approach that I'm talking to you about right now, I never had any problem getting people in the field because they were so pumped up about what we did for people. They knew I was going to help their friends or neighbors or relatives or whatever, that they didn't have any reservation in putting me in front of people. That's why I hit that so hard, okay? It's very critical. And as a matter of fact, Dave Simpkins just did that the other night, right? And it worked like a charm, didn't it? He said it worked fantastic. I promise you, take this approach, make this the approach. You should have that. Like if you're out and about and you ever meet somebody, you have your little thing together. Asset under management thing and a couple of FNAs. Let me show you. Somebody ever ask you, what do you do? Let me show you. Show them. Don't try to come up with all kinds of cockamamie ways of explaining it. Let me show you. It'd take you probably 15 minutes or less to show them all that stuff. And then you just close. You say, Dave, if I could help you improve your financial situation like this, is there any reason we couldn't sit down and I could go over this information and get the information for you to put together a plan like this for you? See how I just asked them? I asked them directly. I didn't beat around the bush, right? Or I say, look, if I could show you how to make, 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 or more a month doing this, can you think of any logical reason you wouldn't at least give it a real serious consideration, at least give it a try? Fantastic, okay? Those are the kinds of questions I would ask, and ask them. The more you do that, the more it's going to get comfortable, and you will be amazed at the results. Those of you that have ever actually tried some of the techniques I've taught you, they work, okay? I mean, this is not theory I'm talking to you about right now. This is stuff I did, all right? And I built a pretty big sales force doing that. And you can do the same thing. So from this point forward, recruit. That's what we're going to do, okay? All right, fantastic.